Welcome back to the Undefeated Show Defining Moments podcast, located here in Project 3810, the house that Kyle Golding built. Today's very special guest is Courtney Bullard, the Executive Director, co-founder of the Pearl House, and Clara Brown, the Director Communications Officer for the Pearl House.
Hi.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having us
Absolutely,
today.
yeah.
Oh.
For sure.
Thank you.
Before we get started, this is for you. You have the heavier bag, and this is for Steve. He's got the lighter bag.
Oh, man. I can tell that you're married because you're giving the woman the heavier bag. That's nice.
And this is for you.
Thank you. Thank
Absolutely.
you so much. Okay, we have gifts for you.
Oh, awesome.
I love gifts. So we have shirts for you
This
and your
is
lovely
fantastic.
wife. And yeah.
Thank you.
So they're one of my favorites. They're super soft.
Oh, yeah. Ours too. This is great. Hope, giving hope a home. This is awesome. Thank you for taking your time, ladies, to come down and from Tulsa to be here in Studio 3810 with us. We appreciate that.
Of course. Yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's
We
been a
love
few
road
months.
trips together.
Do you?
Yes. Yep. They're a favorite.
So we connected, actually I connected with Steve, your husband, on Twitter for about 2.5, 3 years. And he was talking about the Pearl House, and a couple of my friends were like really intrigued about it. And so tell us a little bit about the Pearl House.
Yeah, so the Pearl House, it started, we've actually had our girls for 9 years this summer. And so it started with a dream, and we really feel like it's an assignment that God has given us. And so we have a home and a school and a career center in Ghana, West Africa.
In Ghana, West Africa. So do you go over there, and you have a school?
Yes.
So you guys both go over there?
We do. And, ironically, we actually don't go together a lot of times. So we travel east one time a year and go visit. And so I'll go, and then he's, home with our girls.
Yeah.
And then he'll go and visit, and I'll stay home. And so, so we go at least once a year.
Wow. I coached boys competitive soccer for a very long time. And I had a young man, his name is Robert Owusu.
Okay.
And he is Ghanaian. And they came over about 2014.
Really?
And I coached him for 2 years. He played at Western Heights High School.
Really?
Yeah, the Wusos.
That is so interesting. Are they still here?
They're still here.
Wow.
Yeah, he went to college and he's graduated. He's got a degree in business. He's doing pretty well.
I think there's a pretty large Ghanaian population here in Oklahoma City area.
I've met so many in the last year, like Ghanaians, Nigerians. There's a large West African population in Oklahoma City, which is really cool.
Yeah. So you're the Director of Communications.
Yes.
Clara, how do you enjoy that?
I love my job
Yeah.
because it's really, I just get to talk about Pearl House. And when you find that thing that you could talk about for hours and no one would stop you, that's what I do with Pearl House. So I love any time I get to go and speak about Pearl House or just talk to individuals about Pearl House. And then part of my job is talking with sponsors and with their sponsorship and the girl that they sponsor, getting them involved and telling them things about their girl that they're sponsoring. And so I really enjoy that part of my job.
Yeah. How did you get involved with the Pearl House? Talk about your journey a little bit.
So I started taking trips to Ghana in 2008 when I was about to start high school. So my mom went on a medical mission trip and invited me to go along, and I was like, sure, why not? And so I went with her, and then my youth group, which Steve Bullard, Courtney's husband, was my youth pastor. And so he started taking trips as well. And so then I started going with him. And so that's how I got involved in Ghana. And then my senior year of high school, I was not ready to go to college yet. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't really have a clear direction. But I knew I wanted to do something outside of Jinx America. And so I talked to my parents about it, and I was like, I want to do something. And they said, no, you're going to go to college. And so I met with Steve and Courtney because they had been talking about the Pearl House. And I said, hey, I want to go and intern. And they said, well, we don't have girls yet, but talk to your parents about it. And so I did, and they said no again. And so I told Steve and Courtney that, and they said, okay, well, just be praying about it, and we'll see, and keep talking to your parents. And so I talked to my parents about it for the third time, and they finally said that I had their blessing, that I could go. And so when the Pearl House, when Courtney Garland, the CEO of International Operations, moved over there, I joined her right when Pearl House started. We didn't have girls yet, and so I moved over there as the first intern in 2013.
Wow.
And so that's kind of how I got involved with Pearl House.
Wow. That's a long journey.
It is, and it's still going.
That's awesome. And the power of prayer, you had to pray about it after all the no's, and now we're sitting here listening to your story about it.
Yes, they finally agreed, and then they just realized, okay, this is going to be her life.
Yeah.
And they got on board.
That's awesome. So, Courtney, you talked about you going over there. What do you see over there with the Ghanaians that I don't see?
You know, I think the thing about, like, Ghana has truly become my happy place that I go to, and they are so hospitable. And so, you know, I think just they're excited when you go. I remember the first time I went, like, I'd never been out of the country. I mean, I'd never been to Africa. Excuse me. And so going and just thinking, like, are they going to be glad that we have come? Like, will they be accepting of us? I don't know. And I think that was the biggest thing that stood out to me, is just how they're so happy that you would come and help. And so, you know, I think that's the thing. It's just there's so much joy. And I think the thing that really, I think, just blows my mind about it is that sometimes they have what we would consider so little, but they're so joyful about what they have. There's always something to be thankful for, and I think that's a lesson we probably, all of us, can learn, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What's the language barrier like?
So they actually speak English.
Okay.
So there's different languages in Ghana. I think there's probably
hundreds, because each tribe has their own tribal language.
Okay.
And then within those tribes, there's different dialects.
Okay.
And so some of our girls speak 5-6 different languages, just because there's different variations.
That's amazing.
Isn't that amazing? And so when they come to the Pearl House, so we really encourage them to speak English.
Yeah.
And some of them do not know English when they first come, but it's amazing to me how quickly they learn.
Yeah.
And so, you know, they'll translate, but it really, language has not been a barrier for us so far.
Wow. How does a girl make it from Ghana into Pearl House?
So we work with various partnerships in Ghana with our girls. So when we started, we connected with different pastors all around Ghana. So we had girls from all different regions coming to the Pearl House. And so those pastors sought out the most at-risk girls, the neediest girls in their village, and recommended them to the Pearl House. And so that's how we got our first 20. And then 5 years later is when we started adding more girls. And that's when we started working with social welfare in Ghana, different nonprofits there, like the Mercy Project, and other NGOs there that are more short-term facilities for rescued girls. And then some of those girls are reintegrated back into their communities, and then some of them need a long-term facility where they go, and then that's where Pearl House steps in. So we also work with, we have a board in Ghana that they serve in different areas in Ghana. We have people in parliament, we have doctors, and so they have a lot of different connections in their communities, and people will come to them with recommendations for girls with Pearl House. And so when we receive a recommendation, our in-house social worker will go and make sure that they meet the qualifications, like they're the right age, they have just their circumstances are fitting for needing a place to go. We've received a lot of recommendations just with girls that are in unsafe situations that need a safe place to be rescued.
Yeah. Wow. So the recommendations comes from the pastor or
Sometimes.
the church?
So pastors, board members, directly with social welfare workers. So our goal now is to more impact the community that Pearl House is in. So we do have girls from all over Ghana, but when it's time for us to open our doors to more girls, our first choice is to go to social welfare and see how we can help the community that we're in first, because they've been so welcoming to us. And then kind of our more individual situations where a girl needs a place to go, they come from all over Ghana.
Okay. Wow. So when you first started, Courtney, you and Steve started the Pearl House. What was your mindset like as far as from the ground up to present?
Right. Well, I think if I knew how big it would be and it continues to grow, I don't know if I would have said yes so easily. Because it's overwhelming. Just and I mean, but really you look at it and we're working really hard on this end, but you see how God is doing the growing of it. And so I think too, when we started, Steve had gone on a mission trip and he went to Africa. He asked me to go, and I'm like, I am not going to Africa. I have a lot of fears about Africa. And so, I always joke that I really might have increased his life insurance policy, before he went, and said, I'll be praying for you. I'll be here when you get back. And I've always had a heart for teenage girls, but had a ministry here in the States that I was running at the time. But when he went to Ghana and he comes back and he's telling me about these girls that they're young, they're 8, 9, 10 years old, living on the streets, they're being sold into child marriage, they're poverty. I mean, all their stories are different, but they're all really, really hard. And so whenever he came back and told me about it, I don't know, just God got a hold of my heart and transformed it. And I was thinking, I have to do something. I don't know if you've had like time where you've heard of something or something, you're like, how do I continue to live my life and not do something about it? And so I didn't know what that would be, but I knew I wanted to do something and I wanted to be obedient to what God maybe had for us to do. So I think it first started just with me saying yes, but not realizing what that yes would entail. So when we first started, we had, I think it was 6 or 7 girls that we started with. And so we rented a house and we were working with the local pastor at the time, and we went to him and just said, we want like 6 girls. We thought that was manageable, in our own strength. We could like probably manage that and take care of them. And so we went to him and we said, we want just the most destitute girls, that their next step in life would be living on the streets, just no hope. There's no change in our life unless we, stepped in. And so we want to just intercept them from living a life of that, that cycle continues. And so anyway, so we started with 20. And it wasn't 6 or 7. And it's just grown from there. So, we not only have the Pearl House, but we have the school, the Pearl House Academy, and that's for boys and girls in the community. And so we have 441 students that are there at the school. And it's just amazing to see just, again, the joy, but they're thriving. And some of them come to us and they've never had any kind of level of education, and that's okay. Like sometimes we have, some of our pearls maybe are 14 and they might be in level
first grade.
First grade. But it's amazing to me to see how quickly they're advancing.
For sure,
even at an older, what we would consider an older age, in first grade. And so it's really, it's taking like a drink from a fire hydrant. Some days I feel like, but you just put your mask on and go for it. And so we, the 4 branches, we have the house, we have the school, we have the career center, and so that's actually in another region of Ghana, and it's for young ladies that are 18 to 21 ish age. A lot of them have missed the education opportunity, and so most of them are single moms, and they have no way to provide for themselves, for their families. And so we're teaching them English, how to read or write, and then we're teaching them how to sew. And so
Dang.
it's pretty incredible. It's a 2-year program, and once they get out, they get we give them a sewing machine and all the tools that they need to start their own business. And we've had 2 graduating classes, and I think it's amazing. Clara and I talk about this. It's just that, I mean, it's working. You know, these ladies are now earning income. They're able to provide.
Yeah.
So we just opened our 2nd career center in a separate region in Ghana, and we did a feasibility study, and what was needed there the most was hairdressing. And so that's what we're teaching them. And, you know, same thing, they come, you know, 5 days a week. We provide breakfast, lunch, teach them, you know, just basic things, but then how they do hair, and then they'll graduate and we'll help them get started. And so it's really, you know, I think the one thing about Pearl House is that we see a need, and then we try to meet that need.
Wow.
And so that's kind of where our 4th branch is coming, will be this summer, and it's the Pearl House Haven. And so it's the counseling center that we're starting.
That's awesome. As you're telling me all this, I'm getting chills, because I feel like it's so authentic and so what's needed in not just American society, but society across the world, is identifying the needs and trying to meet those needs. And you guys are obviously exceeding the needs. So you're going from sewing machines to now hairdressing to havens, and I mean, what's after that?
Big plans.
Big plans.
Big dreams.
Plans. I know, when I just say, you know, I think sometimes we dream too small, and, you know, the God we serve is really big, and so we dream big. And so, and I do love, though, that we always look and see, you know, what's the need? Like, we don't want to just come in and just start something to start it. So, you know, what's the need? What can be the greatest help? And so, you know, in the future, we want to have, you know, almost the Pearl House concourse bridge type deal, where, you know, in a couple years we'll have our first Pearls graduating university, and so it will be like a transitional housing, but also a place where, you know, when you come to Accra, which is the capital of Ghana, that it would be a place where you go and, you know, you go to a salon and you can get a coffee there. And so there'll be, you know, like shops at the bottom and housing and training going on. And so really just, you know, really helping to change a nation.
That sounds amazing, because in that you could have the women, the girls that are the sewing, that you give sewing machines so they can make stuff and sell merchandise, and then get your hair cut while you're there and get a coffee, whatever you want to do.
It's like a one-stop shop.
It is. It's super exciting.
Yeah. I don't know if y'all listen to Jack Johnson or know who Jack Johnson is.
I don't listen to it.
But you're talking
Sorry,
about
Jack.
You're talking about dreams, and there's a song that talks about don't let your dreams just be just dreams. And so it kind of reminded, when you were talking about dreams, it's like, man, push it, make it reality.
Yeah. And sometimes I think it just takes that initial first step.
Sure, 100%.
You know,
Saying yes.
Saying yes.
Yeah, saying yes to something you're not even sure of, but you said yes, and now you got to carry through.
Yep, that's right. I have a plaque on my desk, and I think Walt Disney said it, and it says sometimes it's great or exciting to do, you know, things that are terrifying. And so it's really fun to accomplish those things. But even if you fail, like, you learn from those things. And so we do love to dream at the Pearl House.
How do you and Steve collaborate your ideas for the Pearl House? I mean, are there times when there's maybe some friction, but you have to sit there and listen to each other? And how does that work?
Yeah, so, you know, I think the thing when you help to found something, so there's actually 3 founders. So it's Steve and I, and then Clara mentioned Courtney Garland, who actually lives in Ghana. So she's from Memphis area, and which that's a whole nother amazing story, how we met her, and she basically sold all she had, moved to Ghana, and she's our boots on the ground CEO of international operations over there. Wow. So the 3 of us really do a lot of collaborating together. And so, you know, we'll come together and dream. And I think what's amazing is that we work really well together. Yeah. And so, you know, I think that sometimes can be rare, but we hardly have conflict. But when we do, we help, you know, go through it.
Sure.
But I think probably Steve, if he was sitting here, he might say that, you know, sometimes I don't know what he probably would say a lot, but I think that I think sometimes that it's hard when when something is like your baby, you know,
Yeah.
and it's your life that you're dedicated to, that it's hard to kind of turn it off and on. And so, you know, it's not really a 8 to 5 job. And so I think that for Steve and I, it's kind of just part of also our life and
Yeah.
our marriage. And we're always talking about it. It's just kind of in conversation as, you know, throughout the day. But it's really fun. He's a dreamer.
Yeah.
And so it's fun to, you know, hear him. And then sometimes I try to help put it into action. And then I have an amazing team that helps
Yeah.
to carry it through.
For sure. For sure. Is Steve pretty mellow?
He is very mellow. Yes.
Okay, so then I was correct in my own judgment, is because when he tweets, it seems pretty mellow.
He's very mellow.
No, just periods, no exclamation points, just periods. And so I was like, man, this guy's pretty mellow. He's pretty chill. I like it.
Very chill.
Yes.
Which we work well together because I can come in hot sometimes, you know. And so
Seeing it from the outside, it's like Steve will casually mention an idea,
Mm.
and then Courtney's left the room, and she's got a plan how to get it done. And Steve's like, "Oh, okay, I guess we're doing that."
right.
And she's like, "Okay, I have 5 donors lined up to get this project started." And Steve's like, "Oh, I was just mentioning it."
That's very well
awesome.
said. Yeah, that's kind of how we roll, but it works well.
Yeah.
So I kind of help to light a fire under him sometimes,
Yeah.
and then he helps to mellow me out.
Yeah.
And so yeah, he's very chill and mellow and very steady.
Yeah.
Very, you know,
Even
there's
keeled.
no really mountains or valleys. You know, he's just you get what you get, and it's great.
Man. All right. Well,
Yeah.
I'll have to come meet him, shake his hand one day.
I know.
See
Yes.
how mellow he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like you seem pretty mellow, but yet I know we both have a love for exclamation points. So
Yes.
how would you rate yourself? Like, where are you on the mellowness?
I am pretty mellow. However, I can get really passionate about certain things that come up. So when I go and coach boys competitive soccer,
Yeah.
I can't just be a mellow dude. Yeah, I can be mellow kind of coaching, but then there's a point when you've got to fluctuate your tone of voice. Your body language. You're director of communication, so you probably know about communication. But yeah, I'm pretty mellow for the most part.
Yeah.
However, I get very passionate about certain topics. And it's topics that I feel like I am fully aware of and I've done my research on, that I can hold my own.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to debate you just because I want to debate you.
Yeah.
I'm going to listen to what you have to say and your thoughts and your ideas.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to necessarily call you out, but I may ask some questions that seem logical to me, but maybe not to you, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So,
That's
yeah.
great.
Yeah.
You and Steve would get along well. Yeah. So you're welcome. You need to come next time you come to Tulsa.
Yeah,
Yeah, look us up.
for sure. I
Yeah.
will. Director of Communications, do you go out and help get donors too, or how do you communicate with donors?
I'm kind of starting to come alongside Courtney in
Okay.
that role, just learning from her.
Sure.
I like watching her interact with donors
Yeah.
because she has a passion for them and makes them feel very special,
Yeah.
which I think is a gift, that she can make a $5 donor feel the same way as a $50,000 donor.
Yeah.
And it's very authentic. It comes from a sweet spot in her spirit. And so I love watching that. And so I've started to come into that role with her. But one of my main jobs is just to interact with our current donors and sponsors and making sure they are up to date and feel thanked, and that they know what is going on stateside and what we're doing here, and then also what's happening in Ghana, and communicating to them different ways they can continue to be involved. But it is starting to be walking alongside Courtney and meeting new donors. And I'll be moving to Oklahoma City at the end of the year, so I'm hoping that kind of broadens the people I get to meet and talk to about Pearl House, and kind of learning from the master and
The Jedi.
the
The
Jedi
Knight.
master, and carrying that with me as I move here.
Wow. Well, when you come to Oklahoma City, there's a man by the name of Kyle Golding, and you should meet up with him because he's got all sorts of ideas. He knows all sorts of people.
I love it. And I hear he's a well-dressed man.
He's a well-dressed man, about to be inducted to the Hall of Fame. Let's see what else. Saturday Morning Hustle podcast. I ask him this all the time. I was like, you don't charge for these podcasts, all this knowledge that you have accumulated over years. He just drops it.
It's for free.
Every Saturday morning.
Wow.
And it's amazing. So if you ladies get a chance. Speaking of podcasts,
Yeah.
your Monday morning podcast, have you done one lately? Because I was watching a few of them. I was like, these are really good.
Yeah. Thank you.
They're really good.
You know, I have loved it because I've gotten to know people. It's
Yeah.
a great opportunity, you know, to ask
Sure.
questions you probably wouldn't ask just over coffee. You know, it's
Right.
very intentional. So we started that last year, and it was Make a Difference Monday, and it was, which I love that you watched it. That's fantastic. So yeah, I think it went really well. This year we're still doing the podcast. We just changed the format up a little bit, and so they're basically, it's called the Pearl House Podcast, but we're doing stories, and so they're really short. They're about 5 to 7 minutes, and we've had people that have just sent in their personal stories about Pearl House.
That's awesome.
And so it's, you know, we did a whole month of interns of, you know, girls that had gone and interned at the Pearl House, and they sent their stories in, and donors have sent their stories in. So yeah, so you should check it out. It's real short, and we've kind of just changed it up, and we might go back to the format of Make a Difference Monday. But yeah, so that's kind of what it looks like now. So it's still there.
Yeah.
It just looks a little different.
Yeah. I noticed it was look different, but I do like that. The phrase "Make a Difference Monday." It's so good, so good, so catchy.
Yeah, it's a good reminder.
Yeah,
it's a good way to start the week.
That's right.
So
you talking about coffee, intentional, and questions. So my question to you first are, what are 2 questions you wish people would ask you, but no one ever asks you?
Oh.
You got to think about that too, because I'm going to ask you too, Clara.
I'm glad you're going first.
Oh, do you know your answer?
No. That's why I'm glad you're going first.
2 questions that would, like, funny or
just any questions you wish someone would ask you, but no one ever asks.
I have to think about that.
No.
Have you ever answered that for yourself?
I have answered that for myself.
What would be your 2?
I would be interested in answering what was my parents' life really like in Vietnam in the rice fields. No one ever really asked that question.
Wow.
And then the other question would be like, what is your mindset like when you wake up or when you're on social media?
Those are great questions.
No.
Oh, man.
I normally do the question asking, so I'm stumped right now.
Well, what led me up to this question about mindset and leadership is because you spoke to it, Clara, about Courtney. She treats the $5 donors like they're $50,000 donors. And that's a rare quality to have as a leader. Because there's leaders and then there's leaders, the next level of greatness leaders. And that's what you reminded me of, because if you can treat that $5 donor like a $50,000 donor, it's like treating the janitor like the CEO. F1 Formula driver Lewis Hamilton was talking about treating everyone in the cleaning crew as well as he does his staff engineers, because that's what makes him a great driver. And he is a great driver. And so for someone to recognize that about you and speak to it, it's legit. So
it's a compliment. Well
done.
Thank you. But I mean, it really is genuine. And I always think, how would I want to be treated? And, you know, like, we're all equal and we're all created the same, and, you know, God sees all of us. And so I just want to make sure people know that they're seen and valuable, and they have worth and they have a voice, whether they're a donor or not, you know. And so I love that Clara, anyway, I have so much history with Clara. I've known her since she was a teenager, and it's amazing. Well, yeah, before that. I've known her since 2nd grade.
Okay, yeah.
Tells you how old I am, yes. And I wasn't going to go all the way back, but yes, known her since 2nd grade. But I think it's, you know, with the Pearl House, it's easy because I just tell the story.
Yeah.
And, you know, God does the moving in people's hearts. And so, you know, to me, I feel like my role is to tell the story of what God's done and is doing. And it's neat to see how people come alongside and get involved, but that is a compliment. But that really is my goal. Like I just have a heart for people, and I think we all should,
Yeah.
And so I just want to make sure they know. I think sometimes people don't know how valuable they are, or maybe someone's never spoke truth into their life, and
For sure.
sometimes I get that opportunity.
For sure. Yeah, so we can come back to those questions later, and if you don't have an answer to that question, you can think about it on your journey home to Tulsa, and then maybe you can text it to me with some exclamation points, and we can talk about that. But that's what the show's about. The show it's about, obviously, you, Pearl House, but more importantly, the people behind Pearl House. What drives Pearl House? What makes Pearl House? So I'm going to ask you first, Mrs. Bullard. What's a defining moment for you in your life that's really stood out, that maybe you had a setback that you overcame the challenge to lead you to where you are today?
I think that, I think growing up, I think I put my value and worth in the wrong things, and maybe I didn't rely fully on like my confidence coming from what God said about me, and it was more probably what other people said about me. And so I think maybe that's why I'm so passionate about people realizing where their value and worth comes from, because anything else is not steady. It's changing all the time. And so I don't know if that's something I overcame, but I think it's like a revelation of, of knowing where my confidence comes from.
Yeah.
And so then I see that ripple effect, how I'm helping others to, understand that as well.
That's great. That's really good. What about you, Clara?
So I think like a big defining moment in my life with Pearl House has actually been recently. I kind of thought, okay, I started as an intern with Pearl House, and with that it was, okay, I'll be an intern until, it's time for me to go to college. And then after college, it was, okay, I'll work for Pearl House in Ghana until I get into this grad program. And then that didn't pan out, so I was like, well, I'll keep working here until I apply again. And then I moved back and said, okay, I'm gonna work for Pearl House stateside until I get into nursing school. And then I got into nursing school, and I was like, I don't know if I want to go to nursing school. I really enjoy working for Pearl House, but I don't know if that's sustainable for my life, and if I can make a career out of working for Pearl House, but it's something I'm passionate about. And so actually this past January, I came to a point where I had to pick, am I going to be full-time with Pearl House, or am I going to venture off into something different? And I decided, I'm going to work with Pearl House until this happens. But finally I came to the decision that I'm going to work for Pearl House, period. And that was a really cool moment to just finally see what Courtney saw, and then other Courtney in Ghana saw, that I think they knew the whole time I was supposed to work for Pearl House full time, and that it would be what I did with my life. But to come to that realization finally that this is what I'm supposed to do. It's not what I went to school for. My degree is in nutrition. I don't use that in my professional life, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I, can tell us what snacks not to have at the Pearl House office, but that's about it. And so, but just to, see what my mentors have been seeing the past few years with Pearl House, and to finally get to that realization, this past January has been really cool.
Yeah. Well, since we're on the subject of nutrition and things like that, my wife is gluten-free.
Okay.
And she's got some kind of sensitivities to gluten. And so we met in 2013, and I went all in. Like toothpaste, no fluoride, toothpaste without some sort of sugars or something like that. I had no idea. I didn't even know what gluten was. I thought it was sugar. But I now know what gluten is. And I actually lost about 35 pounds.
Yeah.
Wow.
Been able to maintain. Yeah. I was pushing 200 when I first started dating her. Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Made her gluten allergy. It's
Yeah.
You got to be intentional
Yeah.
with the gluten allergy. It's in everything.
It is in everything.
Yeah.
It is in everything. So, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I had no idea that charcoal pills, apple cider vinegar. I was like, I don't drink that stuff. Kombucha. Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, that's a hard one. I can't do that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's not for me, but
Well, Courtney, so what do you think you would regret not doing if you didn't do it in the next 5 years?
I think that I would regret just kind of taking a back seat and not continuing to lead the organization. So sometimes it's you're tired and it's hard and it's it's not all Skittles and rainbows every day. It's challenging and it's overwhelming. And I think sometimes it's easy to say, I wonder maybe someone else should take a turn for a little bit. But I think I would regret that because it's also exciting and I get to see lives changed and I get to see God working and miracles happening every day. And so I think I would regret that.
That's great. Wow. What advice would you give your younger self, Clara?
I would tell my younger self that it's okay if your passions change and if your dreams change. And that switching a dream does not mean you're giving up. It just means you're taking a different road.
Yeah.
For a long time, I thought if I didn't go to grad school or anything like that I was giving up on a dream. But it's just that God had different dreams for me.
Yeah.
And so, you're not letting anyone down when you change a dream. You're just doing what you're supposed to do. And so I wish I realized that a lot earlier.
Yeah.
Would have saved some money on application fees. And so, so,
Oh, man.
when God gives you a passion, it's okay to focus on that passion and maybe just put a different lens on and see your dreams in a different perspective and that they look different.
That's great. That's great. Also, congratulations on your engagement.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when's the big day?
December 3rd,
December 3rd, 2022?
2022.
Okay. Wow. Here?
Yes.
Ghana?
We'll get married in Tulsa,
Okay.
and then I'll move to Oklahoma City, and then we're going to do a big celebration in Ghana next summer.
Wow.
So all the pearls will get to come. They're very excited.
Dang.
I think
that's
they're
so
already
cool.
picking out their outfits.
I love it.
I was like, we still have like a whole year. They're like, we're just getting ready. I was like, okay.
That's
You
great.
do you.
Yeah. And it'll be our 10 year.
And yeah, so we'll
Wow.
probably go for our 10-year anniversary and then just tag on a wedding celebration.
That's
I'll be out of the
amazing.
office for a little bit next summer.
Yeah, we'll see you next year.
That's so great.
Yeah. So for those that don't know, my fiance is originally from Ghana.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And so that's why we'll do a celebration there. But also because half my family's in Ghana.
Yeah. He enjoys soccer.
He does a lot.
Yeah.
I don't really speak to him on Saturdays because he's busy.
He's watching Premier League.
Yeah, and with the time difference, sometimes, he's up really early or up really late watching soccer.
That's right.
And,
Yeah, with the time difference,
Well-
sometimes you're up there about 5 o'clock in the morning on Saturday.
yeah, I'll text him and he's like, hey, good morning, I'll text you later. Liverpool's playing. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
you do you.
Yeah.
Wong, I feel like when you go to Ghana with us one day,
Mm-hmm.
the pros would love for you to teach them soccer. They play soccer and they're really
They play
good,
street soccer, though.
but it's
so
street
Yeah.
soccer, which I hear
Perfect.
might be different than competitive soccer. Maybe it's the same. I don't know. I don't
No
know that
rules.
much. Oh,
That's the best. Yeah. Playground rules are the best. 'Cause
Yeah.
there are none.
oh, okay.
And they also
Real
don't like to
quick.
play with shoes on. So
Yeah.
it's one of my biggest pet peeves is when they don't put shoes on
Really?
to play soccer.
So in soccer, when you're obviously it might be because of money situations, but to get the true feel of the ball is to play barefooted.
Maybe that's just
Yeah.
because I'm not
Yeah.
athletic whatsoever.
It works on
And
your
so-
your muscles from your toes, your feet, all the way up to upper body.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah, it's interesting. Our
So
soccer coach did
I need
that.
to let that go. Let them play without shoes
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
They're doing it right.
It's just hard that they'll play on like construction sites with no shoes on.
Yeah,
And I'm like, there are
I've never done
nails
that.
everywhere.
I've never
but
done that.
It's probably good.
Yeah.
It's probably good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as you're having fun.
Yeah.
What's a little tetanus if you're having fun?
Yeah. Well, there's a quote out there. Another one of my friends told me says, the best one out there is the one having the most fun.
I love that.
Yeah.
Then the Pearl House is the best one out there.
It is.
That sounds like a
having a lot
winner
of
to
fun.
me.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, for sure. What advice would you give your younger self, Mrs. Bullard?
Oh, I would probably give my younger self advice. And it applies to me today as well, that it's okay to sit and just rest for a little bit. So sometimes I have a hard, which Clara, I know, I see you over here. I have a hard time just sitting and just resting.
Yeah.
So, which is healthy. You should.
Yeah.
And so I think that growing up, I was in a lot of activities, but then I also see though how it helped me be the woman I am today.
Mm-hmm.
So I see the pros and cons to it, but I probably would say that like it's okay to not always be doing something.
Sure.
You can still be productive in other ways.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
How do you deal with negativity?
Well, I don't know if you do the Enneagram, but I'm not huge on it. I just know a little bit. I know enough about it to be dangerous, I feel like. So I've been told, and I really do think I am a 3, which is the achiever.
Okay.
And so I think, is that right?
Yes.
Claire knows more than I do, I feel like, on this. But I think that, one of the things is that, we never want to be embarrassed. Like, that's like a big one, which I can see that. But negativity, I actually do pretty well because I feel like I can always be doing better. So I think that, I really do. Like, I think as long as it's constructive criticism or negativity,
Sure.
But then also I think if someone's just being negative, I think that I really just see it as they honestly don't know the value they have, or they wouldn't devalue me.
Wow.
And so that's the look out of it that I have.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. You're a comms director.
Mm-hmm.
How do you deal with negativity?
Oof.
I don't have time for negativity. It's positivity all the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can take constructive criticism, but I think what we do is really hard, the stories that we hear. And so, I'll take constructive criticism about what we do, but, unless you've been over there and see the stories that we're dealing with, I think doing what we do, you have to have a positive mindset or it gets really, really hard.
For sure.
And so if you have negativity, you gotta move out of my way.
I feel like that should be on a shirt.
Yeah. You should put that on a shirt. That's pretty good. How do you start your mornings?
With a big cup of coffee.
How do you take it?
Just black with a splash of cream.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty basic. But yeah, I start my morning with coffee, and I love my drive to work. Whether I'm listening to a podcast or worship music or like 90s gangster rap, like it's just time for me. Like it's 15 minutes of my day where like I'm not, on my phone. I'm not expected to do anything.
Good.
And so I enjoy my commute to work. It's not long, but it gives me time to get in a headspace of, okay, I'm going to work. I've talked with Courtney about how a lot of the times people say, like, the quote is, like, women are spaghetti and men are waffles. Like, men compartmentalize things, and women can, like, move things. Like, I don't know how to describe it.
Like we can have multiple things going on. We can think about different things. We can multitask.
Yeah.
We're all over the place.
But I don't think it's gender related. I think it's personality related.
Okay.
And so, like, I think I'm more of a waffle, and I like the different spaces of my day. And so moving from one space to the other space, I like that transition period. And so I like to start my morning with that. Like, I try to not, like, be on calls or anything driving to work. Like, that's my time to transition from home to work.
Gotcha. Real quick, 1990s gangster rap or gangsta rap. Who are you talking about? Tupac, Biggie? What are we talking about here?
Yeah, like Dr. Dre. Pretty much the 2021 Super Bowl halftime show is my jam.
Okay. So fitty.
Yeah. Or, Dr. Dre, Eminem, Mary J. Blige,
That's so awesome. I love it. This is great. How do you start your mornings, Courtney?
Same?
Same.
No.
No.
I was like, you listen to
She and I have very different morning routines.
Well, my mornings looked a lot different before I had children. And then I have 2 girls. So my mornings are, getting them ready after I have a cup of coffee. And so, yeah. But then once they're out the door and I'm driving to work, like I like it to be quiet because the rest of my day is really noisy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm thinking I might need to take on Clara's routine.
Which part?
The listening to
Okay.
I do love all those things. I mean, the halftime show was, I was up.
Yeah,
dancing.
you could resonate.
I can
with it,
relate,
right?
yeah. I mean, that's my jam. But so yeah, mine are not as exciting as Clara's.
That's funny.
But I do try to start them the same, and I try to end them the same, because I know what's in between them. When I wake up and go to bed, I have no idea. Sometimes just chaos, but organized chaos, but it's just crazy. So I try to book in my days so I know I can count on starting the same and ending the same.
Yeah, that's great. How do you take your coffee?
With a lot of cream.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Heavy whipping cream is the best. So I've been trying to put protein, like one of those protein drinks.
Yeah.
The cafe latte is the best. And so I've been trying to do that because I'm trying not to do as much sugar.
Okay.
It's not as good, but it's better for you, I feel
They
like.
have like keto protein coffees now.
See, I need to look into that.
Yeah, Bang makes one. It's actually pretty spectacular.
Really?
Yeah, it's really good.
I need to look into that.
Yeah, look into that.
It's not really working, but
Yeah.
I'm drinking it.
I love music. So when you're talking about motivation, inspiration, and sometimes when you don't have that, you got to keep going through because you got to have an undefeated mindset.
Right.
It reminds me of a song by Rodney Atkins. It's called When You're Going Through Hell, Keep On Going.
Nice.
Yeah. So if you get a chance to check that on the way home.
Okay.
And you're telling me stories about Ghanaian girls, women, and we don't know their stories, and you're absolutely 100% correct. Most of us don't. But it reminds us of a song of Brooks and Dunn called Only in America. And it's really, you think about it, the bus driver's looking in the rearview mirror and he sees these kids of different backgrounds, and one could be a president, one maybe going to do something else. And so it's, I love music. I like to tie music into daily lives, and so I just listen to what you're all talking about.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll have to check that. Maybe on the way back, our drive back to Tulsa.
Yeah.
And tell me what you think.
Okay.
If it does have exclamation points from you, then I know that you're like, nah, dude,
Right.
bro, you
At
stop.
least-
It
Right.
was fine, period.
Then you know.
You're not going to the Hall of Fame, man.
Nice. I love that though. And one of our slogans or sayings we always say at the Pearl House is "Educate a girl, change a nation." And so I don't know why I just thought about that when you're saying just looking in the rearview mirror and all the things these girls are going to be, and the plans and dreams that they have. And I love because now they're dreaming big. So they first came to us and they're just trying to survive, and now they have the freedom to dream. And dream big. And so I love that.
That's so great. What are you most proud of?
Oh, I am most proud. Man, Wong with the questions. You got some good questions, by the way. I'm impressed.
Thank you.
I'm very impressed.
Thank you.
So I think I'm most proud of, I have a lot of things. Can it just be one?
Be how many you want to be. I'm game.
I am most proud of my family. Because I'm not going to cry. Do people cry on this podcast?
All the time.
Oh, my family and the Pearl House. And I think I'm proud of my friends, who I have surrounding my life and speaking into my life. I'm very proud of that, in a good way. I'm honored. Maybe that's maybe a better word, but I'm very honored and proud of, not only my family that I have. I mean, my girls, they can be a challenge sometimes, but I'm really proud of them. And I tell them that all the time. And I'm really proud of Steve, so my family, but my friends too, and Clara's in one of those, but just really proud that who I've surrounded my life with.
What do they do, your kids and Steve, what do they do to make you so proud?
I think with Steve, gosh, there's a long list, but for him, I think how well he loves others, and he just does a really good example of that. And he's a great listener, and I think too that, you know, he is definitely comes alongside. He's the helper, and you know, so I just see how great of a dad he is. He's an amazing dad, and so my girls are very, very fortunate and blessed to have him. So I think for him, that would be my answer for Steve.
Yeah.
And then my girls, I see how they're leaders even at a young age. And so with Charlotte, she's 8. And so she has this bold personality, and she will speak truth and stand up for the little guy.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud of that. Like, she doesn't, like, and sometimes she comes in a little harsh. Like, I'm like, we need to soften your delivery a little bit. But she's not afraid. Like, I'm really proud of that. And I think for Francesca, she's 12 going on 13 in 7th grade. And I'm really proud that she does not follow her friends to a fault. Like, she's not influenced easily.
Yeah.
So, and I think those are things to be really proud of.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
What about you, Clara? What are you most proud of?
I am proud of the Pearl House. I'm proud of the work that we've done and the work that we've allowed God to do through us. I think kind of just the same as Courtney. Like, I'm proud of the people that have surrounded me in this journey. You know, to have my fiance come alongside me and support the work that we're doing has been really cool. And to see, you know, my family start out with, are you going back to Ghana? Are you're moving back? Like, are you ever gonna live here again? And then just to see them be supportive in that way, I'm really proud of. Yeah, and then I think, honestly, I'm proud of myself to see the accomplishments that I've been, or, you know, the assignments I've been given and accomplished has been cool, because this isn't what I thought I'd be doing. But yeah, so
That's
I'm proud
great.
of myself too.
That's awesome. I think people should be more proud of themselves for doing certain things, and you definitely should be proud of yourself, Courtney, for doing what you
I'm
are
proud of you,
continuing to do.
Thank you. I'm proud of you too.
This is great. My last 2 questions, I got 3.
Okay.
For you personally, and then for the Pearl House, respectively, how do you want Pearl House to be remembered, and how does Courtney want to be remembered?
Oh, wow, here we go again. I think for me personally, like, I always say, like, you know, tomorrow is never promised, and we don't know how many days that we have here on this earth. And so when my time is up, I want written on my tombstone, job well done, good and faithful servant.
Oh,
and that's really what I want to be known as, someone that is obedient and followed the Lord and gave it her all. And so that would be for me personally.
Yeah.
Reel it back in. All right. So, and then I think for the Pearl House, just to be known as an organization with character and high standards, and that we ran it and we operate it by faith. And so I want to make sure Pearl House is always running and operating one step ahead of what we could possibly ever do. So that way we know we are not relying on our own strength, but that we are operating this organization relying on the power of God. And so that's what I say about Pearl House.
That's awesome. You keep going this path. That's exactly how it's going to be remembered, and you're going to be remembered. So
thank you.
good stuff. How do our listeners get in touch with you with questions, donations, etc.?
Yeah, so our website, it's thepearlhouse.org. And on there it tells about, we have monthly sponsorships, which is one of my favorite things, because you can actually build a relationship with our pearls. And so you can go visit your pearl and just really invest in her life, and she as well into your life. So, but all that's on the website. So
Okay.
you can learn more about Pearl House. You can reach out. There's info at thepearlhouse.org. Me personally, it's C Bullard, at thepearlhouse.org. But we're also on social media. And so, you can find us on Instagram and Facebook, Twitter, probably more Steve Bullard on Twitter.
That's true.
And so, we would love to. I love bringing new people into this story because it's exciting.
Yeah.
And not only are you changing lives in Ghana, but it will change your life for the good.
Yep.
So.
This is great, ladies. Thank you so much for both y'all's time, and keep up the undefeated great work that y'all are doing.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
So much. Yeah,
absolutely.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. Appreciate
absolutely.
you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. This is great.